If you're looking at buying a camera flash for your camera but don't want to spend a lot of money, in this video we are going to have a look at the Meike MK420 and see if it's a good budget camera flash for you. Kia ora, good morning everyone, Richard Wong here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to have a look at the Meike MK420. It is a camera flash that only costs you around $100, but it does have a few very nice features for a budget camera flash. This MK420 camera flash is a pretty small camera flash. If I put it side by side with my SB900 Nikon flash, you can notice that the size is quite a bit smaller, and also it's pretty light as well. The weight of this camera flash is only around 260 grams without the battery, so it is a very light and also very compact camera flash. Build quality wise, it definitely is pretty plastic and also feel pretty budget compared to my SB900, which is also mostly made of plastic, but the SB900 definitely feel a lot more solid and a lot more premium compared to the Meike MK420. But on the other hand, if I compare it with my Nikon SB600, which is one of the flashes that I've been using for a very long time, then the build quality of these two flashes is a lot more closer. I would say they are very similar, even though the SB600, when I bought it, it was quite a bit more expensive than this Meike MK420. At the top, we have the head that we can rotate it up, down, and we can tilt it back slightly. I think it's -7 degrees to front is 90 degrees, and we can also rotate it sideways, both way to 180 degrees. Which is pretty nice, means you are more flexible in terms of how you want to mount the camera flash or how you position the camera when you're shooting. And it also has a diffuser. Where is it? Oh yeah. It also has a diffuser here built in, and also a little bounce card here that you can just stick it back. And it also comes with an extra diffuser that you can click onto the flash. At the back, we have the usual thing. We have a couple of different buttons. We have the power switch. We have a dial, which allow you to control the flash. You can adjust the power of the flash, and you can also adjust the zoom head from 18mm all the way to 180mm. And you can also operate the flash in different modes. And it is also not a dumb manual flash. What I mean by that is when you connect it onto your camera, you can choose to have the flash running in either manual mode, or you can run it in TTL flash mode as well, which means you can get the camera to help you adjust the power of the camera flash. So this is a lot better than some of the other budget camera flash in the market, which only has the manual mode. And also the camera flash can communicate with the camera and know what focal length of the lens that you are using to shoot, or what setting is the zoom lens that you are using. So if you are shooting with a zoom lens and you are zooming in and zooming out from your lens, the MK420 would immediately know what is the focal length that you are choosing, and it will also adjust the head, the flash head accordingly, so that you can get the most optimal light coverage from this MK420. On the side of the flash, we have a micro USB port that is hiding underneath the rubber cover. So this USB port allow you to update the firmware if there's a new firmware available. However, having a USB port that allow you to update the firmware doesn't necessarily mean Meike is going to release some new firmware for this MK420. On the other side of the flash, we have the rechargeable lithium-ion battery that comes with the flash. So that is very nice for a budget camera flash to come with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. So to get it out, just pull this little lever here, and then it will pop out. This battery seems pretty good. I did a test to see how long the battery life is. So I shoot at full power, so 100% power, and I still managed to get around 350 full power output from this little battery. So that is definitely not bad at all. And of course, it comes with the charger. However, I do notice one thing is when I'm charging the battery, I can hear some high frequency noise from the charger or is it from battery? I think it's from the charger. When I'm charging it, it's not a very loud noise, but in a very quiet room, then you'll be able to hear it. I have checked with Meike and I told them that I hear a bit of noise when I'm charging the battery. So is it normal? They told me that this is actually normal for this camera flash, and they told me don't need to worry about it. Unfortunately, even though it supports TTL and also can know what is the focal length of the lens that you are shooting, it doesn't support high-speed sync. And what that means is, if you are shooting with a shutter speed that is faster than the sync speed of your camera, which is typically 1/200th second or 1/250th second, if your shutter speed is faster than that, then if you are shooting with this MK420, even though if you turn on the high-speed sync setting on your camera, the flash result would not look right because this doesn't support the high-speed sync feature of the camera. And there's one feature that I quite like with this Meike lens is, when you turn on the flash, you can actually turn on a constant LED light that you see here, and you can adjust the power if you want it to be more powerful, or make it dimmer if you don't want it to be too bright. This is actually very useful because sometimes when you are shooting in a very dark environment, you can't really see the scene very clearly. You may have problem focus correctly, or even the framing, you cannot see it properly. So having a little LED light here at the front would definitely help you, like you can see the scene a lot brighter. Even though the LED light is not like a super bright LED light, but for you to help you to preview, visualize, and also help you focus properly, this is bright enough. And also this is also useful when you are doing a bit of filming after dark, maybe when you are doing some vlogging footage, or you just shooting some documentary or just some everyday footage. You can just turn on this LED light, and that will just give you a bit of extra light to help you get some useful footage even when you are shooting in a completely pitch black area. The Meike MK420 also has the automatic temperature detection and protection feature, which is to help you prevent overheating and damaging this camera flash, especially when you're shooting under a very hot environment. I did a test in this room. The ambient temperature was around 25-26 degrees Celsius. I set the camera flash to full power, 100% power. After taking around 37 photos with the flash at full power, the display on the MK420 then displayed the overheat icon and a 5-minute timer for the camera flash to completely cool down. So 37 photos at full power within a very short interval of time is not bad at all for a budget camera flash. But on the other hand, the 5-minute cooldown period is quite long. So if you are shooting an event, a 5 minutes wait would feel like forever. But luckily, you don't have to wait for the full 5 minutes. If you wait a little bit, you can turn off the flash and then you can turn on the flash. Even though you haven't waited for 5 minutes, the flash will still allow you to take some more photo with the flash output. But because the temperature of the camera flash probably is still quite high, so you definitely wouldn't be able to take the same amount of photo if you didn't wait for that full 5 minutes cooldown period. I did a quick test. I found out if I wait for around 1 minute and then I restart the camera flash, I could get another 15 photo at full power before it say it's overheating again. So that is okay. 1 minute I get another 15 photos. In terms of the brightness or power from this MK420, the official figure is it has the guide number 42 at ISO 100 at 105mm focal length. Now that is something a bit interesting because all the marketing material it says is at 105mm focal length, but reading the manual it says the guide number 42 is at ISO 100 at 180mm. So I don't know which one is correct, but anyway, I did some tests and compared it with my SB900, which was the flagship speedlight from Nikon. Is now replaced by the newer one. I think it's SB5000, which has a lot more advanced feature, but the power output with the SB5000, I believe is exactly the same as this SB900. And I also have this SB600, which is also quite an old model, but this is the second to top speedlight from Nikon. So I did a bit of test between these three camera flash and just see at the maximum power what is the power output is like. So this is a comparison with the SB900 and this Meike MK420. The SB900 definitely can output quite a bit more power compared to this little MK420. Now, if I compare the SB600 with the MK420, I would say the power output from these two flash are very similar. This MK420 is available for most popular camera system. The one that I'm testing is the Nikon system, and I have tested with my Nikon DSLR. I tested on the Nikon DF, and also the mirrorless camera. I tested on the Nikon Z6, and it works perfectly fine with both cameras. At just around $100, I think this Meike MK420 is a pretty plastic but pretty solid performance budget flash for your camera. It would offer you a huge improvement and also a lot more feature and flexibility if you are currently just using the pop-up flash or not using any flash at all with your camera. The maximum power output is pretty good for a budget speedlight, and the recharge time is also pretty good, and it also comes with a few accessories like the diffuser or a carrying pouch. There are certainly some limitations. For example, if you are firing at full power, you can get less than 40 photos before you will overheat this MK420, and also it doesn't support high-speed sync, which make it quite a bit more trickier if you want to shoot under bright sunlight. But for a budget entry-level speedlight that costs only around $100, I think this is pretty acceptable. I do have a little bit of concern with the rechargeable lithium-ion battery because first, when I'm charging it, I do hear a bit of high frequency noise, even though Meike told me this is normal. And the second thing is, because it's quite common that the rechargeable battery, it would swell a little bit after using it for a while. Not just for a budget speedlight, like even my computer, my MacBook Pro, two of my previous MacBook Pro have a swollen battery after a few years, and even my latest MacBook Pro, which is the one I'm using here, this is only like 18 months old, and the battery is already swollen. Like even now, I actually can't sit it completely flat on my desk because the battery already expanded quite a bit, even though it's only 18 months old and there's an Apple MacBook Pro, which is very expensive. So yeah, so it is quite common for the battery would swell a bit after you use it for a long time. And the thing is with this Meike battery, because it doesn't have a very hard outer shell, and also when you put it in, it fits quite tightly and quite nicely at this time, but I'm just worried about if it does swell quite a bit after using for a long time, we may have problem trying to fit it back in here. But yeah, this is the only thing that I really have a bit of concern about this Meike MK420 speedlight. So I probably wouldn't recommend it for professional use because it could overheat within 40 shots and full power, and also it doesn't support high-speed sync, which is something quite important for professional use. But on the other hand, if you just want to have a budget speedlight, don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want to have an external speedlight, or you're looking at buying just another extra speedlight for your camera, then this MK420 could be quite a good affordable value for money choice.